Thank you so much for taking time out and speaking with us. So many firsts for OYO. This announcement today also comes in wake of a very ambitious buyback. In fact, the first that we saw in India, $2 billion. And now you have a very attractive announcement, which you have mentioned in great detail. You've pointed out how it will benefit all your stakeholders. Yes. Could you help me understand what really the focus of this is in terms of your long-term plans, the kind of investments you're putting into this, and what kind of end result really are you expecting from this? What's the key goal of this ambitious announcement?
So yeah, Neha, it's a very exciting place to be in right now. Yes. Both in terms of time, where we are kind of seeing the industry changing, the customer behavior changing. At the same time, OYO itself is a great place to be in.
Yes.
Because I keep saying, I think there's a huge audacity to dream, and then there is fierce execution to chase that dream. Today's actually announcement actually comes as a result of that.
Okay.
OYO Hotels and Homes is today South Asia's largest branded hotel chain by far. When we felt that when you're in that kind of position of leadership, we have to find new ways to engage with an ecosystem that is emerging. And that ecosystem is this large number of hotel asset owner partners who are our very key stakeholders in our success. So as an industry first, what we said is, okay, let's kind of think of engagement not just as a R&R plan, or I keep saying it like you call some distributors, hand them out some cars,
yes.
and life is great. And then we forget till the next year.
Yes.
We said, let us solve for the fundamental business needs of these partners. And we said, okay, what are the typical problems that people face, or the challenges that people face? One, how do they learn from the best? I'm an individual owner, right? Sitting in Bareilly, or sitting in Tiruchirappalli, or Mahabaleshwar, or Siliguri. And then I say the second thing is, how do I find capital, the financing help to grow? The third is that how do I find the right operations, the people, retaining them, and so on and so forth. So we took this journey or this set of problems and created a journey around it, and said the first thing is, we will create a real-time engagement with this thing called the OYO app. Now here, as an individual asset owner sitting somewhere, I will be able to compare myself with the best, and I know I can literally copy-paste best practices, and 75% of our asset owners today use the OYO app.
Okay.
The next thing that we did was that, how do we solve for the capital need? I want to invest in my building. I want to make it better. I want to create a better experience. But if I go to a traditional, financial institution, it takes time. It takes a huge amount of documentation. I need to, I need to mortgage my property, give personal guarantees. We have a very different relationship. We have a working relationship with that asset owner. So we came up with a business advance product called Cash in Bank.
Okay.
In the last 6 weeks, we probably would have disbursed about 60 crores, where 1,000 asset owners can now see cash in their bank that they're now investing in their buildings, in their infrastructure, and making it better. And without having to go to the hoops and loops that they typically have to go through, CIBIL scores and this, that, and the other. Now that this has started working well, we said, okay, how do we recognize and reward the ones who are doing better than others? Better customer experience, better scores, better infrastructure. So the first thing that they have is, how do I run this operations of this business far better than what I've done before? So for the best, we are dedicating an account manager who will help them with the actual operations of the business, and these problem-solving skills that we have as an institution, we are bringing that down to the distributed, franchise network.
Okay.
The second thing that we are announcing for the first time today is, we will help train the staff that are working in these various hotels. Once the staff gets better, how do we retain them?
Yeah.
So we, on the back of OYO, have tied up with PayTM, have tied up with AccuInsurance, And we said, we at no charge are going to create that ability for these individual hotel owners to create salary accounts, bank accounts, current accounts with PayTM, create accidental insurance for their staff members, not ours. And finally, as some of the best, how do we give them a benefit that affects their own personal life, as they're getting better? So we've tied up with automobile manufacturers, BMW and Volkswagen. We have tied up with a bunch of retail chains. So now you'll watch that as part of this network, somebody who does better and gets better, gets more and more benefits in their real business, in their staff, and as well their own life.
Clearly, so that's a very aggressive plan that you have in place, and as you said that you are chasing it as well. Help me understand what kind of investments are you putting into this, because I want to understand how we stand as far as break-even is concerned. When do you really hope to touch profitability? This in line with the fact that you are hoping perhaps to be the first startup to target IPO and list on bourses to give exit to all the private equity players. So how does the plan really fall in place when you look at these three verticals?
I think in terms of the investment, we are very, very committed to growing the South Asia business. So we've dedicated about 1,400 crores for investment in South Asia alone. And we will find various ways to make it better for the customer as well as our hotel owners in the way we make this investment. And that's a large sum of money. I don't think any other hotel company is putting in that much money into the system. The second is, while we're doing that, we also want to be acutely aware that we are trying to create a sustainable business. And therefore, while the 20% of our net realized revenue was our losses in December 2018, the goal that we're trying to chase is that we will halve that to 10%, despite the scale at which we are growing by December 19. As far as profitability is concerned, that is something that we are constantly chasing, but it is creating that, you have to create that fine balance between growth and profitability. And I think the clear guidance is that as we bring down our losses, we are then on track for chasing that profitability. And finally, I think the IPO, I don't have a date in mind, and that is something that the board will decide at the right point in time. But I've, even given my previous experience, I've felt that it is a milestone in a company's journey which happens at the right period, right time, for the right reasons. And as long as we build a good, fundamentally good business, then you have the right candidate.
Sir, I have an important question that I want to understand. How is the ecosystem for startups in the country? We are seeing a pang of slowdown coming in. Apart from that, the entire regulatory setup, how helpful is it for the startup community? And I ask this in light of recent fresh concerns that we are seeing following the sad demise of VG Siddharth, who was seen as a poster boy for a very long time when he ushered in Cafe Coffee Day. What do you think really needs to be put in place, the checks and balances, to ensure that perhaps we can help entrepreneurs and give them the strength to carry on in face of such adversities?
Well, as startups, I think there is always something new that is happening. But startups around the world always kind of develop and grow faster than the regulatory circumstances can pick up. But in India, I think we've been reasonably blessed that we've seen a lot of great startup stories out of here. Do we need more? Absolutely.
Yes.
The second bit is that I was trying to remember that I first met Siddharth exactly 8.5 years ago. We were both co-awardees at the Forbes Leadership Awards. And that's the first time I met. So obviously, for a lot of people in business in India, everybody has some personal story, which of course, so therefore the condolences to the family. I think we should not limit our lens to business leaders or startups, but kind of talk about, creating a ecosystem where it is safe and secure for people to ask for help when they need it.
Correct.
I think that's what it is.
My last question, sir. You have been an integral part of Indigo. You've contributed to the growth story. Now, with the tussle between the promoters, what is the best outcome? Because I'm sure that you'll have a sentimental connect with Indigo, considering that, you really helped Indigo scale the heights it did. Seeing the situation now, investors have raised concerns. What is the best solution in this situation? How do the promoters settle this and come to an agreeable truce?
So first of all, I would not profess to have any advice which will create a solution if there is a problem at all.
Okay.
But what I fundamentally believe is that it's a fundamentally right sector, supply constrained market, lots of demand, just like hotels. I obviously greatly enjoyed working the time that I did it at Indigo.
Yes.
But right now I'm focused on creating and partnering with my leaders here to create a very loved brand in the hotels business, which is not only the biggest, but hopefully the best as well.
I appreciate that, and all the best for your
Thank
endeavors,
you so
sir.
much.
It was so good speaking with
Thank
you,
you so
and
much.
this is a very exciting program that
Thank
you are
very much.
launching
Wish you all the
today.
very best.
Thank you.
Thank you.